He was a tough dad, but he was tough because he cared.
I feel like Red Foreman, even though he was an asshole, I mean, he made me laugh a lot. And that to me is good. All right. That's a check mark in my book because he's funny.
He's typical 70s dad.
Right. Mainly his threats were all putting his foot in your ass.
Yeah.
It didn't really get much more broad than that.
And he raised one of the shittiest kids. Eric Foreman's not that great of a person.
Neither is his sister.
I think Lori was worse than Eric.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, Eric was pretty well put together. I mean, in comparison to Lori.
I think that Red Foreman had good morals, and I think that's what's important, right? Is we're going off the morals
with everything that Red Foreman did or said, but all in all, he's a pretty good dad.
Can I tell you a funny fucking story really, really quick? So I've never watched Breaking Bad, okay? I've never seen it. I've seen pieces and parts, but I've never watched it. I don't really know much about the details. But so my buddy Kevin, my co-host on Do Nobody Cares, obviously he was this huge fucking Breaking Bad fan, and he watched every episode. And so I made it a point that I would never watch any episode of Breaking Bad ever, except for the last episode. So we watched the last episode together. I've got no idea what the fuck's happening. And the whole time I'm just picking it apart. I'm like, that was fucking stupid. Why would he do that? And he's like, dude, you can't say that because you missed it in this season when this happened. Like, you don't even know what's going on, dude. I'm like, this show fucking sucks. He's like, dude, how can you even judge it? It's the only one you've ever seen, and it's literally the series finale. I'm like, because it fucking sucks, dude. So,
well, it's like if you made Kevin sit down and watch the last episode of Game of Thrones.
That's what we talked about doing.
He's going to be like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
Exactly.
And you're like, well, yeah, it is. It's the last episode of Game of Thrones. It's bad.
And it's a bad episode. So.
Right. Yeah. So then what should we do? Do we all get to kind of just...
I think we can vote on this. I mean... If anybody has any points that they need to make about Red or Walter.
I don't know that Walter White really did anything to redeem himself other than giving his family $1 million. At what cost?
Yeah, at what cost?
I feel bad because, like, I want to side with everyone here, and I feel bad because I'm in Steve's house, but I'm like literally going to go against his pick right now and pick Red Foreman. I just feel bad about it.
Well, I mean, I'm voting for Red Foreman too. So,
Red Foreman, cool.
So you pretty much put your names as fodder.
Well, I mean, I think that Walter White could have beat somebody, but I think putting him up against Red Foreman, he was just doomed from the beginning.
I think so too.
Yeah. So Red
Foreman moves on.
Yeah. There we go.
I like it.
We have a worksheet here we have to fill out as we're moving along, so I just want to make that clear to everyone.
In the next round, we have Mr. Floyd Henderson of Smart Guy fame. That was picked by Mr. Bob over here.
Yeah.
Going up against Frank Lambert, which we've already discussed. So, guys, you have any points you want to make about these dads?
Well, I just want to say, first of all, that I don't know who either of these guys are, so my vote is for sale to the highest bidder.
I don't...
Here's $650.
Who do you want me to vote for?
I don't care.
I think that, in my personal opinion, and I'm not trying to sound biased here.
You're supposed to sound biased.
Well, let me start off by saying that I know we've already discussed the step-by-step theme song. It's a great theme song. Smart Guy also had a great theme song as well.
Yeah, and Taj Mowry rapped on it.
He's a smart guy. Smart guy.
That was a good one. But I wouldn't go out of my way to watch the Smart Guy theme song.
I mean, it's a kid's show. So.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know how I feel about kids.
Your palms are so sweaty, dude. What are you doing?
I think I'm going to go with Frank Lambert just because I don't really remember, to be honest, I don't remember much about Taj Mowry's dad and Smart Guy. I don't think he was, I mean, he was obviously a major part of the show.
I think he was a single dad who was raising 3 kids. And what's Omar Gooden Jr.? But he was just a friend. Obviously, we're only basing this on biological kids.
Right. There was Marcus was the older brother, right? And then you've got the sister, and then you had Taj Mowry, which was, I forget what his name was in the show. But, TJ. Oh, easy enough.
Easy.
How many kids are there in Step by Step?
7?
Are they all?
There's 3 of his and 3 of hers. It's like Brady Bunch almost.
Yeah, it's like a modern day Brady Bunch, but better with a better theme song.
Just glad that nobody went with the dad from Seventh Heaven.
Oh yeah, because
he was a whole other thing.
He was a giant piece of shit too.
Was he? Yeah, I don't know.
I think he was also a pedophile.
What's up?
Banging theme song though.
Yeah, it was a good theme song.
Wait, wasn't Jessica Biel on that show?
Yes.
Since
was
we're
a good
kind of
show.
like on the kids talk, I just remember there was an episode of Smart Guy where TJ like goes with, I think it's his friend. They like go to some photographer's house and he's like taking pictures of them and stuff.
Yep.
And then he like goes back home and the dad's like really upset that he like went and like took all these pictures with this random stranger at his house. And I just remember it was like a really controversial episode, like almost like cringeworthy, makes you uncomfortable, controversial. You know what I mean? Cause it's like, fuck, these are Disney's getting into the real life issues here. I can't remember what the resolution of conflict was, but I just remember that I'm pretty sure the dad did some good dadding that day.
Yeah. He dadded it the fuck up.
He dadded it up.
Absolutely. No, I don't remember too much like about Step by Step. I don't even really remember it.
Nobody watched Step by Step.
I did. I watched it a whole bunch when I was younger, but now I've done things to wipe my memory, so to speak. So I don't really remember too much. I think he was an okay dad.
I'm going to go Frank Lambert on this one. And that's just because he was piping Suzanne Summers, who's just.
All right. Based on that, I'm going Frank Lambert.
How much more dadding can you do than piping Suzanne Summers?
Well, and I've just read the step-by-step bio and Frank Lambert, Patrick Duffy, he was a divorced contractor in the show. Like he's a contractor, so he's like a hardworking dad.
Yeah.
He probably didn't make a lot of money either. Like.
Well, I think if you're a contractor, depending on what you're, contracted to do, you can make a lot of money.
Back or not.
He built that whole ass fucking roller coaster in the beginning.
Oh yeah, he did. So we're going Frank Lambert. Yeah.
He built an addition onto his house, like several additions onto his house too. So
Just kept adding on.
he made his own little murder
over
mansion.
the course of the show, I feel like that house got bigger.
Yeah,
it was a big fucking house too. It seemed like.
So are we all in agreement?
I think we're going
Lambert.
I think we're going Frank Lambert.
Steve.
Well, I was going to vote for Floyd because I looked up Smart Guy and I liked that show when I was a kid. But Frank built a roller coaster, so I'm in.
I like that you say that you liked it when you were a kid, but you were the only one as an adult who couldn't remember it.
No, I had to look it up. I Googled it.
We all remember watching it.
So next round is two men who lost their heads for their family.
Yeah.
That would be Herschel from The Walking Dead, picked by
And
Bob.
that's it. No,
that's mine.
Oh, by Steve. Sorry, Bob.
Yep.
Sorry. And Ned Eddard Stark.
Eddard.
It would be Eddard Ned Stark.
Look, I just want to say, first of all, that Herschel died and his family was all right after that. Ned Stark, I'm not sure you could say the same.
Probably.
Only two of his children died.
But hold on.
Yeah, but the rest of them had a really tough time.
They were not anywhere near each other at that point. Like what? Sansa and
they were all separated across the whole Westeros map. I'm pretty sure. Was it Westeros? I want to make sure I'm referring to it right.
Yeah,
that's the entire map of the Game of Thrones.
That's
that continent.
That's that continent.
Okay.
And then there's Essos,
another continent across the
which is
the Dark Sea.
I can't remember the names of it, but I know that they were separated for like probably from like they get separated at the end of season 1, right? Because Arya's watching Ned get beheaded, and she disappears into a crowd with a random stranger, and then they're pretty much separated for like I think 3 or 4, maybe even 5 seasons.
Yeah.
All across the map. So.
Right, so he died and he left his family in chaos.
To be fair, though, I mean, okay, Herschel was a good dude. Like, don't get me wrong. You watch that episode.
He lost 3 kids.
You watch the episode where Herschel gets beheaded by the governor. It is emotional.
Yeah,
it really is.
I probably shed a tear or two.
I think I did shed a tear because there's such a emotional buildup.
Yeah, Papa.
You're like, he's
Papa
never
died.
gonna do it. He's never gonna fucking do it. He's not gonna fucking cut his head off. Hell. Oh fuck, he cut his head off.
And he did it. Also
Papa
that
is no longer.
Yeah, Papa. Also, that kind of inscribed the governor as like a real fucking like villain for me from that point. I'm like, holy shit, this dude don't fuck around. But
it had more weight because I mean, like, sure, what was it? Joffrey ordered the executioner, but it wasn't like the executioner had a name to him.
Right. Know? Yeah.
We know the emotional weight.
I think these are 2 very emotional kills, especially because, like, if you watch Game of Thrones throughout the whole first season, you're like, oh, I get it. It's easy. This show's about Ned Stark being an honorable man.
Yeah. Like, this dude, in a world where nobody's honorable. Like,
right. This is great. The only honorable guy in this whole fucking show. You're like, this is going to be a great series to watch.
And then he gets
season finale of season 1. Done. You're like, what the fuck just happened?
Right.
It sets the tone for the rest of the show. It tells you, hey,
Nobody's safe.
It does.
Nobody's
That to me,
safe.
I was like, holy, that is what, when they did that to me, when they took my favorite character away in the season finale of season 1, I'm like, this show don't fuck around.
Yeah.
And I like that. I like when important people are just written off because you're like, what the fuck would they do that for? Right.
And, but I mean, I think during that season 1, Ned did everything he could to set his family up for success. It just so happened that the rest of the fucking world was against them, and there was nothing they could do.
Well, you know, you're defining a lot of this by these guys' deaths, and really Herschel was the most prepared of anyone in this fucking world.
He was was he a veterinary doctor? Or?
Yeah, I think he was a vet, and he had a farm, and they were fine.
But think about all of the lying that he did at the beginning. Was that protecting his family?
Oh, when he was trying to like keep him out of the farmhouse.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Oh, because of his.
That's for his family, not for
barn, rather.
Okay,
he had a bunch of.
He was trying to protect his family, but
His
he just
biological-
didn't know what he was doing.
Yes,
I
he
guess
is
it was just his kid.
Yes, he is a biological specimen.
I think that this is a tough matchup.
I'm going to vote for Herschel.
And I think that I have to, at this point, base it off of how impactful of a kill it was. Because I'd say they're both great people. And I think both kills were very impactful. But I think at this point, I have to take an HBO kill over an AMC kill. Right? Because one's on screen, one's off. And so I'm going to have to go Ned Stark on this one.
Was
Game of Thrones was an HBO show. and then Walking Dead was AMC.
Yeah, was
Right.
that on screen?
Herschel was on screen.
Yeah, I think that was on
Herschel
screen.
Was it on screen?
Yeah. I'm going Herschel.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go Herschel.
For the reason that he protected his family. He attempted to.
None of you are honorable men. None of you.
Herschel was an honorable man, though.
He was. And don't get me wrong, I was sad, but
It's cool. Herschel will go down in the next round.
I don't know. Can I actually change my vote? I actually lost interest in Walking Dead a lot sooner than I did Game of Thrones.
me too.
But that doesn't factor the character of the dad.
Fatherhood.
Yeah, it's about fatherhood. You're right. All right, I'm going to stick with Herschel.
I don't think it's a bad. I don't think either one's a bad pick.
No.
I don't think either one's a bad pick.
I'm sad to see Ned Stark eliminated so early.
Again. It's a fitting death for Ned
It
Stark.
really is. It really is.
Sorry, Sean Bean, you died again.
Yeah.
Died again. What is this? Your 250th kill?
250th death.
Yeah.
The next matchup is Uncle Phil, picked by Mr. Matt Campy, up against Carl Winslow.
Another tough matchup.
There's another one.
Really tough matchup. So Bob and I were discussing this before the pod started, and he said that, Phil was Will's uncle, right? And so, but he's still, in a way, like a TV dad to Phil to Will, because Will's dad wasn't around in the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air TV show. So I think that you kind of have to count that a little bit, even though he's not his are we going biological father only? Is that like the ground rules here?
Because if we're doing that, Carlton's an ass.
Yeah,
So.
I think Uncle Phil was an awful father to his children.
To his own children. He was a better father to his nephew than he was his own kids.
Yeah.
He was a better dad to Will than he was Carlton or Vanessa.
Yeah. Vanessa. That's
But
trying to think of her name all week.
And whatever the youngest daughter was.
Oh, God, there was another one, too.
there was Nicky too. He was like the little nephew or whatever, like the little kid.
Yeah,
he was a little kid in the house. I don't know. This one's a tough matchup, dude. This one's a real tough matchup.
Because, like, Carl wasn't like a shitty parent to Eddie or
Except for that one
Laura.
Yeah. What? Except for what?
Well,
one time?
Eddie was like a pretty not a great kid. I mean, like he was, went to school and all that shit, but like, I don't know.
I think I got to go Carl Winslow. I don't need any, Uncle Phil was shitty to his own kids. He was better to a kid that wasn't his than his own kids.
Yeah, but
And Carl Winslow tried. He really, really tried with his kids.
I think you're right. He did. And I mean,
And he was a cop in Chicago.
Uncle Phil's kids didn't need it.
You're a cop in Chicago, right? So you're like, you think you're coming home with a fucking bad attitude. You're hating on your family, right? But he always kept good vibes throughout it.
Yeah.
And think about this. They left their door open for Steve Urkel all the time. They could have just fucking deadbolted that shit.
Yeah.
And they always let him in the house.
Always.
I brought this up for one. Maybe I was just writing it down, but they were doing a poker game in the house.